Hey everybody, Tim Dwyer from South Australia back again. I've had a few days just watching what's going on before and after the election. Oh my Lord, how interesting is it? Liberal got wiped out. No, they didn't. They rolled over and peed on themselves like a pup. It was pathetic to watch. The lack of leadership coming out of the Liberal camp was outstanding. I mean, absolutely. Good Lord. If that was a professional fight, they'd have got done for throwing the towel in too early. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, Here we have a funny little situation. My sign on the back here says, coming very soon, if not stopped, brought to you by your own complacency. Chinese on the top of our government, and they already are. And you only have to have a quick look at what happened with the warship that went around Australia, and that was like a dog marking out its territory. And if you don't wake up to the communism that is Labor and the complacency of communism that is Liberal, um, this is what you're going to have. And don't cry to me when it all happens if you let it happen. And so it's not up to me, it's up to you. And I think I did tell you before the election that mathematically you can't get Liberal or Labor out. So let's move right along. Let me share the screen. Let me bring up this little PowerPoint. It is only a little one, and we'll see what happens here. Um, This is interesting. Oops, there we go. Coming very soon, if not stopped, brought to you by your own complacency. Don't tell me that China doesn't already have hundreds of thousands, if not a couple of million, troops in this country called students. Huh. Okay. And as a foreign student, you can bring in your family. Okay. Um, and this has all been done by Liberal and Labor. Both of them are the same. This, make no mistake about it, they are not your friends. And as I said before, the boat's wandering around our coastline like a dog marking its territory. Stand back. I tell you what, it's going to get interesting. You see, Comrade Prime Minister is a book that was written recently pointing out that Anthony Norman Albanese has had 40 years of communist training. And still, right? And still you allow this rubbish to carry on. Or did you? Maybe you didn't. But anyway, we'll get to that. Here's a picture of him as a young bloke. Our current Prime Minister featured in the Communist Party of Australia's newspaper. Okay, so that was in 1991. He's a communist. Now, I don't know whether you've ever seen what happens to communist countries, but try go somewhere, try do something in a communist country that you would call freedom, and you'll soon get a slap up the side of the head, fair income. And it's going to be no different here if we allow it to happen. If we allow it. You see, go to the airport. You can't get through the airport now without being scanned. Oh, yes, but Tim, we've got to be aware of terrorism. Really? Why do we have to be aware of terrorism? Oh, because the government imports them into our country, calls them refugees, and then they become lone wolves. Good Lord, people, wake the hell up. What about all the cameras that you're under surveillance with? It's communist Chinese control. Now, what Labor has in store for us, if you let it, an inheritance tax. Work all your life, you pay all your taxes, you get ripped off. Then when you pass away and you want to hand it over to your kids, you got to pay more tax on it. Death tax, you get taxed for dying, for God's sake. Unrealised gains tax. If you've got X amount of dollars in your super or a big bank account, they're going to tax it again. And by the way, you're already paying unrealised gains tax. It's called rates. As the value of your property goes up, the rates go up, and that is an unrealised capital being taxed. Unrealised capital being taxed. Anyway, moving on. Whoops. So here we go. Elbow's program is to tax the crap out of us to the point of breaking and to force people, the land taxes and the compliance of property will go through the roof until you can no longer afford to hold your own home. You think I'm joking? Well, you sit there and it'll come and slap you right up the side of the head. I tell you, it's coming unless we put a stop to this. Coming very soon, if not stopped, brought to you by your own complacency. Let's not be complacent, good people. Let's not be complacent. I have said for a long time, actually, I want to go back to that. I want to go back there and bring up something else. Whoops, there we go. Have a look at this. There was no lawful writ to have the damn election in the first place. So don't worry about that. That's just more criminality on behalf of the criminals. But have a look at this. Labor had 32% of those who voted for them. Primary vote. There's approximately 18 million people registered to vote, of which it is estimated, and this is a rough estimate, don't hold me to these numbers, but it's a rough estimate that 5.8 million didn't vote, did not vote. That leaves 12.2 million that voted, and 32% of those 3.9 million votes went to Labor. So the amount of people who did not vote outnumber the votes that Labor got. Now, it wouldn't have made any difference if those 5.8 million voted because of the way it's structured that Liberal or Labor must get in. But what this tells us is that there are 14 million people in this country, 14 million of you who are against the government. 14 million. Don't tell me we don't have the numbers. Don't tell me we can't create a reformation in this country. This is going to get exciting, people. This is going to get real exciting. We have the numbers. We just have to communicate to them why we need a reformation. My name's Tim Dwyer. I will see you soon. Have a great day.